ready and going for hopefully what is going to be a very good second pre-season race, in fact, here tonight. And I'm on the wrong, there we go, YouTube Studio. That's probably going to be a better bet at changing the thumbnail now, isn't it? Yep, fantastic stuff. Right, here we are. Awesome stuff. Right, there we are. And we've already got one person in, and would be an absolutely brilliant idea, do you know what, to send the stream around to the Discord, etc, etc. So yeah, and then to the Alright, sorry about that, everyone. Squeaky door, as always. But we are ready and raring to go very soon, I believe. Got people in the chat. Hello, hello. Make sure to be liking up the stream. Fantastic. Pleasure to have you in. Tin and Pat, Khan. Yeah, Twitch. I mean, the thing with Twitch, though, is that I can't then re-upload it to, like, straight up to YouTube, in a sense. But yeah, maybe at some point, we'll see. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see what the future holds. And of course, and we've got Aaron in here as well, who, well, Aaron, someone who is going to be getting a free piggyback around about 10 o'clock this evening. But we'll have to see how that plans out later on. What we've got ahead of us tonight is going to be something hopefully pretty good, and something reminiscent of what happened a couple of nights ago with Sumo, who did a absolutely incredible job on Tuesday with the commentary for his first time as well. Honestly, you couldn't have noticed it was his first time. Seriously, did an amazing job with it all. Yeah, I've had the protein shakes. The back is limbered up, it's stretched, it's looking good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, but I think, yeah, I don't think you can do that just default with the PS4 though. But we'll see how we get on. Maybe when I get a PC or whatever, we'll have a look. Because yeah, I need to get a PC at some point as well. Because yeah, it's just a ball ache without one, and having to nick my brother's for anything that isn't PS4 based. So yeah, oh well. Hopefully we can get one at some point. Cheers, pals. Good luck to you tonight. Of course, this was the birthplace of your maiden win in APP, or well, in the Sprint Championship. We've got Max in as well. Hello, hello. Getting everyone in. Look at us all getting ready to go ahead of the tier 1 stream. Closing YouTube is definitely not the best idea. That is true. That is true. He comes to watch Pal's crash and burn. That's a big stream. Bloody hell. Yeah, bloody. It's a bit harsh, but yeah. Well, sunny skies in Italy, and of course, if he ruins Ferrari's day, I'm sure the Tifosi will have something to say about it. Who's looking good in this new game? Well, I hate to say it, but Palps is looking quick. Taylor's in. Wow. Ted as well looking pretty good. Sumo on his day is pretty good. MX very, very quick on this new game. Tier as well looking pretty good. Wumax has had his moments. Yeah, bar set very high by tier 2, so tier 1 guy is gonna have to set it up. Jackalacco as well. Can't count him out of anything. He's a very competent driver. But we'll see what tier 1 can bring. Yeah, of course, Silverstone last week, very, very close, intense race. So yeah, just have to wait and see how it gets on in tier 1. Because very two contrasting tracks, it must be said, Monza and Silverstone. So yeah, Silverstone you have to be committed with the, not literally a banger, no, unless Palps, but that's not the point. But yes, Silverstone you have to just be so committed with the downforce and just trust the downforce mainly. How's Scott getting on? Scott, good. The pace is definitely there with Scott. You know, he's there, and of course the reigning sprint champion going into season 4. So we'll have to see how he gets on. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for Scott. I think he needs to just try and find a little bit more confidence and be right up there, because he is quick, he's quick enough, and definitely maybe just needs to work on the consistency, whatever it might be with Scott. But we'll definitely see how he gets on tonight, as I think we are getting underway very, very shortly. Excuse me. I don't have a drink or anything with me tonight. Oh well, very underprepared, but we'll go with it. Yeah. Welcoming everyone, get everyone in and ready to go. Certainly. So we are getting underway for the Italian Grand Prix. So hello and a welcome, ladies and gents. You join us back for another pre-season race here in APPF1 after the inaugural Tier 2 in Italy on Tuesday. It's the Tier 1 guys ready to take to the Temple of Speed today. Tier 2 showcase what Monza can truly bring to Formula 1. Can the Tier 1 boys do the same? After last week's race in Silverstone, we finally have an idea on where people stand in the pecking order, but anything can happen, and it's one more chance for the new guys to see where they stand amongst the best of the best in APPF1. Let's see how they stack up with quali nearly underway. I'm, of course, as always, Zach Sweeney, your commentator for this evening, and I certainly cannot wait for short quali and 27 laps of the Temple of Speed, with, I believe, somewhere around something crazy like 70 to 80% of the lap taken at full throttle. It is, yeah, you need a good right foot around Italy, but also with that high speed you've got some very heavy braking zones. Don't forget the Della Rosa and the Rettifilio chicanes, of course Ascari. You're gonna need that left foot very, very much, and the trail braking is going to be a mad factor today. Being late on the brakes, don't forget lap 1 is always carnage here in Monza, heading into the Rettifilio chicane. Max, welcome in. Yeah, Patterson, it's very, very good to have everyone in, and I'm hoping they're all looking forward to the stream. So qualifying underway, 15 drivers on the grid tonight, a very nice hefty chunk of people. Should be good for a nice race here today. Strategy wise, wouldn't imagine tyre wear to be ridiculously high, so I'm going to go with a soft to medium strategy, pretty comfortably one stop. Maybe sort of 10 on the soft, 17 on the mediums, but of course don't forget that safety cars and anything are usually pretty prevalent. We found that out with tier 2. Safety cars can be very, very prevalent around Monza. Who's that out on track? Is that Scott Taylor? Both McLarens heading out, in fact. So no 119 for pole. My prediction, for pole is going to be, I reckon we're going to maybe find ourselves dipping into the 118s. I reckon someone's going to hook up an absolute banger of a lap. But who knows? Low 19, I'd say that is very realistic. High 19's probably possible if you go for a really fast push lap in the race. But of course we don't know. Someone might get lucky and pick up a toe, and other people not so much. So we'll go on board with Scott, who's in the McLaren for tonight. And let's see how he's getting on around Monza, because previously, I mean, our last couple of visits to Monza in APPF1 have been relatively successful for Scott. But we'll see what he can do today against what I would definitely argue to be one of the most competitive grids that we've ever seen in AP. Yeah, the grid this season is going to be absolutely mental, and up and down the field we're going to see a lot of people fighting for wins, podiums, championships, who knows. This new game is definitely going to be very exciting, but you can see Scott setting up a very nice exit coming off the Parabolica and down this pit straight. DRS wide open, 8th gear, you can see already in excess of 200 miles an hour, running very, very low wing setup, 210, 211 as he comes towards the Rettifidio chicane, looking just before the 100, maybe smack on, down to 2nd gear, try not to lock up the rears as you see him do there, very much skating his way through, 4th gear to get the power down as efficiently as possible, then through Curva Grande, completely flat out. Scott in a different postcode to the Apex, you want to get really tight and just stay to the right hand side coming into the Della Roja, looking for the 100, down to around about 4th or 3rd gear, not 2nd gear, missed that massive mountain of a curb on the inside there through the Della Roja, then coming towards the 2 Lesmos, chucking it in 5th gear, late Apex corner to straight line the exit coming towards Lesmo 2, and then 5th gear, maybe 4th, use the camber on the inside coming up this back straight towards Ascari, DRS wide open, a little bit of a kink as we head our way down the hill, then back up underneath the old banking, and then looking for the 100 board down to probably around about 5th or 4th gear as you chuck it in. You've got to be committed through Ascari. Not the best run from Scott as he has invalidated his run, but up till then a very decent effort, as I believe the person behind him was in fact Palf. So we'll see how Palf is getting on through Ascari. A little bit less committed I think on the exit. You can definitely just get it flat and trying to stick it, but for a bank lap time you just want to play it safe. Looking into Parabolica for the 50 board, down to 5th gear, chuck it in, run it tight, then use all this track on the exit, get on the throttle as easy as you can and quickly as you can as he goes on the approach to the line. It's a 21.2 for Palfs so far across the line. It's going to be MX a 19.9 already into the 19 barrier, so MX with a great lap. Taylor setting the pace early with a 19.8 and getting himself on to provisional pole position, but of only 3 people to actually set a lap time. Speed Alcoholic going even quicker, a 1:19.7, extremely close at the front. As we're waiting for a couple more people, I believe this is Davila on the run to the line in the other Aston Martin. Ghost has retired from the session. Davila sets himself into P4, 1:20.253 for the Aston Martins, who currently sit 4th and 5th. Scott going for another run, feeling confident on these softs maybe, or he's actually running out of ERS, so I don't think he's actually going for another run. We'll go on board with Ted, who's now on his run to the line. I believe that's Sumo as well in the other Alfa Romeo, putting himself up into P5 on the medium tyre, so not a bad run at all to top Palfs there. Yeah, Mr. I've not had any practice, he's definitely lying. Ted comes into P6, but don't worry, he is, we'll see how he gets on in the race. Taylor, of course, not someone we often see on the grid in APPF1. Definitely someone I've not seen often. A couple of Fridays maybe, but definitely not on a Sunday. So, yeah, it's nice to see him out there and to be commentating on him, and he's doing quite well. But it's a long race. It's a long qualifying session as well. Still a lot of quick people to set a lap left in this session as well. So we'll see how he gets on. We'll see how he gets on. I mean, he's not pole anymore. Speed Alcoholic had something else to say about that one. You got Aces versus Kings as well, someone who you wouldn't maybe tip for a front running position, but recently he's really stepped the game up very, very nicely, has Aces. And and while previously in sprint championship races he's not always been at the front, he's probably been languishing maybe 5th, 6th on average fastest, but he's been there. He's ready to pick up the pieces. He's so incredibly consistent with his runs as well, and definitely coming into this new game, he's one to look out for as one to improve, or even a surprise as he now starts his lap coming in to start it, looking for that DRS line. DRS wide open, of course. Don't want to be losing out any straight line speed around Monza. Every tiny little bit helps, and you'll often see teams running basically no front wing or rear wing. In fact, you see in real life that it's not shown in the game, but in real life that rear wing is bent all the way backwards, not backless, backwards. Yeah, have a best of luck to you, Ethan, mate. And yeah, can't wait for Wednesday either. It's going to be pretty good as Aces goes purple to the first sector, coming into the Della Rosa chicane and heading towards the 2 Lesmos. He's really committed. Aces is looking very strong. That Lesmo 1, it was only one corner that I've really managed to catch a glimpse of, and even into Lesmo 2, really taking the brakes in well, and then DRS open. This is looking like a pretty good lap from the Mercedes, I can't lie. He seems comfortable out there, he seems committed, he seems ready to take it to the front, guys. There's another purple middle sector for Aces as he chucks it through Ascari and validates it though. Gets a little bit too over the curb, so that is a shame, but definitely the potential is there for this Mercedes driver, who currently sits P11 without a lap set, as everyone else is trying to settle in. JM Art, or I'll just call him JM, or yeah, we'll call him JM for simplicity's sake. Currently sits P6 with a 20.3, extremely close at the front, as Ted gets himself up into P4 with a 20.0. The Aces, I think, maybe going for another lap to have binned it. Yeah. So yeah, Ace is going again, and I think with 10 minutes left to go, he'll probably get maybe 2 more runs in this qualifying session. So it's not all bad if he doesn't. Goes purple to the first sector despite being lower on ERS and on tyre wear, coming through the Della Rosa. Not the cleanest run, but manages to pick up the throttle nicely into the first of 2 Lesmos. Again, he's so clean through there. That wasn't the best run from him, but you can just see that he knows how to take that corner. Into Lesmo 2, you can see the telemetry. He takes those brakes so nicely into the corner, just rolls the car through, and trail braking is so prevalent on this game. You can feel it more than ever than you ever have in the F1 games. Coming into Ascari, can he get it right? Locks the rears a little bit, but it helps rotate the car and gets that nose in and gives him a nice slip angle, and then purple to the middle sector as well. Aces, despite this being his second lap in a row, is looking very, very good to maybe even put it on provisional pole as we approach halfway through this session. Taylor and MX both out now on a lap, so interesting to see if they can improve. Now Aces on the run to the line. What's it going to be? Where's it going to put him? It's going to be a 19.9, just behind Taylor and just in front of MX. So yeah, decent lap to put him onto the second row as of yet. So 9 minutes left to go. MX now on his second run. Let's see what he can do. See if he can improve as he approaches the Della Rosa chicane. Again, MX, an incredibly confident driver. 1/10 up already to the first sector. Found that little bit of time. Just needs to try and maintain it. Looks like a clean run. And again, 6th gear through the first of the 2 Lesmos. Maybe a little bit too excessive, but if he carries the speed, then fair enough. There's yellow flags through sector 1. I believe that's an Aston Martin or someone going round. Speed Alcoholic as well, out on his next lap of the day. You can just see that camera angle was amazing. You just capture the pure perspective of speed you get around Monza. It's truly incredible as he goes. Catches that curve a little bit, goes very wide, doesn't invalidate, but that's going to be quite a bit of lost time, and you can see not happy with that, backing off. And looking to prepare for another lap. Let's see what Taylor's doing now. It didn't improve, but he's going to try and improve now. Speed Alcoholic as well, looking to set up a nice lap. Davila out there on track at the moment. Yeah, Ghost definitely not happy with himself. He's going to be starting at the back of the grid, back in maybe 14th, if Remax doesn't set a time. Davila, yeah, purple to the middle sector and a spin. Is that him out of the session? That is him out of the session. That is Davila in the wall at Ascari, very much buried in the wall. I don't think you are actually allowed to park there. They should probably put some double yellow lines or something, but yeah, for Davila that is not the most optimal end to the qualifying session. I believe that is exactly the mistake Mick Schumacher made in F2 last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that is a shame for Davila to end his qualifying session in such a way. That was looking like a good lap, and it was in fact invalidated just before he'd crashed, as Palf takes a very interesting line coming off the Parabolica into the pit lane. Currently sits P10, and I'm sure he's going to be desperate to improve upon his time and hopefully knock his teammate down. Sumo, the goated commentator of APP. It wouldn't be a Swedish stream with that squeaky door moment, would it? But Sumo now coming into the first chicane. You want to break really just in as straight as line as possible, and Sumo really doing well there. Can't get a lap sorted at the moment. Yeah, we can tell, pals. We can tell. I'm sure you'll be fine. It's the 27 laps after that matter. And of course, it's only pre-season, so don't sweat it at all. But definitely try and give us a good race. Sumo nearly 2 tenths up to the first sector alone, coming into the Della Roja. Really got to be as just that inside curb. I experienced it earlier today. I didn't think it was as prevalent. It was very, very noticeable in 2020, but it's even more so, probably double it now onto 2021. You go over it, the car just takes off. It is literally as if you are in a rocket ship. And you just lose all sense of downforce and control. The front end just takes off and you're in the gravel trap before you know it. But Sumo, 5 tenths now, about 5.5 tenths quicker on his previous best time as he comes into Ascari on the exit. 5.5 tenths. That's going to put him in a mid-20 at the moment. That's only going to be good enough for P8 unless he can find a little bit more time through the Parabolica and try and see if he can propel himself up, because Sumo, a very competent driver when he wants to be. Not the best when he wants to race commentators, but now he's a commentator himself. He might see a little bit of a difference, and as I predicted, it is going to be P8 for Sumo as he crosses the line. A 20.5 at the moment. I did a Leclerc. That was, yeah, that must have been a hard hit. Yeah, that was unfortunate, Ghost. MX puts himself up into P2 with a 19.7, so has improved. Currently 2/100ths of a second down on Speed Alcoholic as we approach 5 minutes left in this session. The Alfa Romeo flying his colours high, really carrying Sumo, it must be said. As he pulls himself into the pit lane, but Taylor now out on his third run, probably his final run, but he's hoping to get a nice little tow from whoever that is in front of him. I think that is an Alfa Romeo, and I think that is Sumo. But I'm not entirely sure. I don't think Sumo's going to stay out for another lap either, so Taylor might not be as lucky as he thought. Ted now starting a lap in the Red Bull. Don't forget, Season 2 Sprint Champion is this Red Bull driver, and he's flying the Red Bull colours going into Season 4 as well. Definitely can't get enough of Red Bull. The team that brought him success in Season 2. And, well, that's not going to be bringing him much success. Gets on the grass coming out of the Retfidio. Unsettles the car, spin round, and, well, that is a... certainly not the logo or the catchphrase that Red Bull live by. Red Bull definitely not giving you wings at this stage because he's lost his front wing. And, yeah, he needs to try and find himself... get himself back to the pits, going straight across the Della Roja chicane. Don't blame him at all. Don't want to be dealing with anything like that. Taylor taking a very nice tight line through Parabolica. Palf's moving out the way nicely, staying on that wide line. And Taylor just tucking in nicely, keeping it to the right-hand side. Marginally up and purple to the first sector. That was beautifully hooked up from Taylor. Absolutely flying. I'm sure he's going to be having a good time as he comes towards Lesmo 2. Hooks it up nicely, use that camber, goes a little bit wide on the exit though, and that is going to be an invalidated lap time. An invalidated lap time that he can't afford with so little time left in this session. Whether he pits or what have you, he needs to recharge his batteries, because it was a good time. 2.5 tenths up. Red Bull takes your wings. Yep, that is very true indeed. I think they need a change of slogan. That was the word I was looking for. Slogan, not catchphrase. Slogan. Mantra, I guess you could say either. But Taylor now across the line. He's going to go for another lap. Womack's retired from the session. That is a crash. I believe that is at the Della Roja. I think it is. And I think he's collected Palfs as well. Let's see if we can get a look. If anyone is heading in, let's see. MX on board with him. That is Womack's on the left-hand side. And I think that maybe collected Palfs further up. Or Palfs just decided to invalidate, knowing he wouldn't get another time in because of wing damage or what have you. But yeah, certainly strange as Aces puts it on a provisional pole. 19.5 so far for the Mercedes that lock out the front row so far. Taylor a little bit down to the first sector, not quite as hooked up as his previous lap, but Ace is looking very quick. The biggest margin for pole we've had so far, around about 1.8 tenths roughly. But let's see if Taylor can do anything in the McLaren DRS Open. He's coming down this back straight towards Ascari once again, dipping underneath the old banking and then back up the hill towards Ascari. He's found 6/100ths of a second into Ascari. At the moment, that's good enough to put him just ahead. Actually, no, not just ahead of MX. In fact, just good enough to maintain his position. Let's see if he can find some more time. If he wants one more lap, he might just be able to get it. But I think the checkered flag is going to be dropping by the time he goes round for his next one. Let's see, Taylor through Parabolica. He's backing off. He's run out of fuel, has he? I think he has, yeah. So he's got 40 seconds to get into the box and get back out. But I think that may be qualifying over for him. But Ace is looking strong. Speed Alcoholic wants to maybe put an end to his teammates' run at the front. But Ace is looking incredibly quick. Scott about 1.5 tenths up to the first sector, locking up the rears a little bit, carrying the speed through. MX doing donuts there. His tyres are probably going to be around about 200 degrees, and I guess you could call him Mr. Fahrenheit. But MX, yeah, that is somewhere you don't want to be, especially when you're fighting for the front, and cooked tyres are definitely not going to help you at all. He needs to cool them down, get them ready, because he's definitely within a shout of pole if he can find maybe around about 2 tenths or so to securely get it. But Speed Alcoholic on his outlap, he's right behind Sumo, both on their outlap. I don't think either of them want to have or give each other the toe. And yeah, Speed Alcoholic would be loving a bit of toe, but he is going to overtake him going into sector 3. And just wants to clear track, clear mindset in front of him. We need to get going. Taylor, put him on the mediums. Not too sure what's happened there, but Ted now on his outlap. This is now the final and probably the most critical stages of qualifying. This is where it really counts. You need to hook the lap up. You need to get the lap to the dot and maximise every bit you can. Ted at the moment 5 tenths down on a pole position, but what can he do? He's been able to pull some good qualifying results out of the bag before. Today it should be no different coming into the first chicane. Taking that very nice and neat and tidy. Everyone else, the pole, provisional pole sit, I believe Aces versus Kings, going for another lap. He's recharged his battery. Speed Alcoholic as well, going a bit deep into towards turn 1. That's going to compromise his run through turn 2. Really, again, just not allow him to maximise his exit coming off of turn 2, and then through turn 3 of Curva Grande. Not taking the touchline either. That's not going to help. Checker flag is out. I don't think Aces has made it. He's into the pit lane. Speed Alcoholic nearly 4 tenths down to the first sector. That mistake really cost him. MX though, what can he do? That is a Williams back in the wall at Lesmo 2. I think that is tier down in P9. I think that his qualifying session is over. MX now approaching Ascari 2 tenths down. I think Aces might just be able to grab this one. What can Ted do at the moment? 1 second down. Sumo, maybe someone can challenge him, because Aces is looking very comfortable. Didn't even have to go for a final lap. And at the moment, everyone, yeah, this is probably Sumo's lap to lose. Is he going to be up on his time? About 1.5 tenths more. He could be in a shout of P6. Davler has stayed in P6 despite not taking part in most of this session, so he's still looking good for a fairly decent qualifying position for the race. What can Sumo do though? He's got one more corner, one more very fast corner, one more very crucial corner. Break at the 50, chuck it in, sixth gear, 50, use the camber, that slight camber to help rotate the car, roll it through, straight line the exit as much as you can, shortest run possible to the line. Where's he going to put Sumo? He's not going to improve enough, or improve at all to improve his position. He stays in P8, very marginally off P7, but I think that is going to be it for qualifying. Definitely good luck to everyone. Aces, it's a Mercedes 1-2 here in Monza. MX and Taylor on the front row. They're both going to be looking at very quick and very close qualifying. The top 5 separated by 5 tenths, and second and third separated by 2/100ths of a second. But that is qualifying done and dusted. It is Aces versus Kings then. That takes pole after a very promising session. A 1:19.530 is your pole lap. Speed Alcoholic, his teammate, joined him on the front row with MX and Taylor rounding off the second row. And that's going to be interesting going towards turn 1. Ted in P5 with Davila in P6. JM in P7 with Sumo P8. Tier and Jackalacco round off the top 10 with Sumo, Emiliano, Paus and Ghost. Along with Rumax rounding off the grid. They're going to be the ones with the free tyre choice, and they're going to be ones that are really going to spice it up in the midfield, I'm sure, with an interesting alternate strategy. Maybe safety cars can bring some entertainment to this race. Ghost as well is going to be one to look out for. The inaugural sprint champion, don't forget, back in season 1 for Williams. He's no slouch at all, and coming into this new game looks very, very quick. He's a smart man as well, Ghost, so he knows how to pick his way through a field. I certainly cannot wait to get underway and racing in just a few moments' time. 27 laps of this Temple of Speed. Expect DRS trains to be in full fruition, because it's so crucial. You need to be in the DRS, otherwise you're wasting your ERS. And yeah, that is, well, without ERS, without that extra 160 brake horsepower, there's not much you can do around a circuit that, well, 80% of is full throttle. Certainly just waiting for, I think, everyone to ready up, and then we can get onto the grid for the formation lap. But look how close the top 4 is. 3/10 separating the top 4. Similar to the actual lobby, I think I'm running out of things to say at the moment on the grid. I've talked through the grid, I've talked through the predictions. Well, actually, I haven't talked through the predictions of the race. I think it's going to be Aces that takes the win, ahead of Taylor and Emmett, I think. I'm not sure. I might be proved wrong, but I think it's going to be a very hectic race, and I don't think you can call it at the moment, especially with how close everyone is. Consistency is going to play a massive part. Apologies, a massive part today, as we are finally ready to go to the race. 30 seconds countdown. Yeah, going to play a massive part. Strategy, being mindful with your ERS, being mindful with your fuel, tyres, everything. It's going to be a race of attrition, as well as a race of hard-fought victory. I think, yeah, Palps is going to have a good comeback drive. He's definitely quick around Monza. As well as Ghost, don't count him out. He's one to get through the field. I think Scott has more to prove. Scott definitely with more to prove coming into this new season. Whether he's struggling or not in this new game. Yeah. I think whether that season was fluke, it was a short season, but he pulled through, he won the championship. So Scott, definitely not a bad driver, but we'll see what he can do today in the race. It's where the points are scored. Well, not necessarily today because it's pre-season, but it's where it matters. 27 laps are better than 1 lap in quali, I can tell you that much. Consistency, and as well, I can tell you from experience that, well, decision making is extremely important. I think finally, there we go, that was a lot less of a loading screen. We go green then for the formation lap. Predicted pit stop strategy, soft to medium or soft to hard, putting around about the lap 11 to 12 range. But Aces leads us off. Ready for 27 laps of this Temple of Speed. Until he bins it, well, we'll see. Let's count the laps or count the corners, whatever works for you, to see when Palps goes round. Hopefully not very quickly or at all. Would be nice to see everyone get through cleanly. But we'll see. It's a short, no, it's a long run to turn 1. Slipstream can play a massive factor as well. And of course, turn 1 is extremely tight. It's hard to get 1 car through, let alone maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 wide going towards turn 1. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see what tyres everyone outside the top 10 are on. Everyone on the grid opting for the softs apart from 2. Scott and Ghost going for the medium tyre, going for that alternate strategy, going long in the first stint, staying in that DRS train. I think that's their plan. Game positions, they're going to be in the same traffic as everyone else. They're going to be going just as slowly. Why not take the penalty of a slower tyre now? And then, you know, when they come into the pit lane, they're going to be faster if they can just stick with the soft runners in DRS. I think that's going to be a smart run, and Ghost proving his smartness as well as Scott his experience. So it could be a good one. We'll see how it plans out. I reckon it's going to be a good idea. We'll wait and see. Through Ascari then for the first time. Completely clear skies, no threat of rain at all. You can see everyone moving around trying to get some temperature into their tyres, but look at the gap they've got. Taylor being extremely cheeky, it must be said, with backing the field up. Through Ascari, and I think the Aces, Speed Alcoholic and MX have all clocked onto that and are going to be backing up ready to set themselves up and not be on as cold of tyres for the start of the race, because you want to be on the best tyres that you possibly can be. Let's get ourselves ready then. Ace is round in the final corner. He's going to have his AI retake control any moment now as he lines up onto the grid. Takes pole position here in Monza. How long can he hold it for? Speed Alcoholic, his teammate, going to be breathing down his necks. MX and Taylor, both relentless drivers. Ted a champion. And he's going to be wanting to prove MX as well. Going to be wanting to prove himself amongst the best. Let's see. Lining up on to the grid. This is where it all counts now. The start is where races can be won or lost. It's going to be a long race ahead of us. It's going to be an intense race, hopefully, ahead of us with such a close and competitive field. Can they replicate what Tier 2 did? Or can they even do one better? We'll have to find out as they are. Green flag is shown. We're getting ready for the 5 red lights now to illuminate your screen. The adrenaline is pumping. 5 red lights are now on. And we're underway in racing. It's a great start from Speed Alcoholic, who already pulls alongside and is ahead of his teammate now coming towards turn 1. MX having to hold off Taylor. They're going to go 2 by 2, nearly 3 abreast in towards turn 1. Taylor on the inside. MX sandwiched between them, and Aces has had an absolutely appalling start. MX goes in deep, gets the position, and Taylor trying to give Aces a nice run. Aces has had an absolutely awful start. He's gone from pole down to 3rd, maybe even 4th if they if Taylor fights him. Now coming towards the Della Roja. Speed Alcoholic gets away well. 1 second clear already. Taylor putting the pressure on Aces. He's going to pull to the right hand side. Aces defends. He doesn't want to lose any more ground. Ted trying to get up the inside of Sumo. Taylor looking around the outside. Not quite going to work, but he goes in deep. Can Taylor maybe get a little bit of a switchback coming towards the Lesmo? He's going to look. He's going to get the run. He goes down the inside. Get himself onto the podium. Aces around the outside though. Keeps that position. And Sumo with a fantastic start. Already putting himself up with the front guys. But Speed Alcoholic, perfect start from him, it must be said. Couldn't have asked for better. Emiliano goes for the move, but is rounding into the wall coming out of the second Lesmo and retired from the session with the simulation damage. Powers makes the most of that. Gets himself into P8. After a great start, Scott going side by side with Tier, the outside of Ascari. Can he get the move done around the outside? Gets it done. There's a bit of contact between the two, and he goes into the side of Ghost. He's been collected in that. No fault with his own at all, but he's going to collect a nice bit of damage. There's yellow flags to set to 3. It's all gone green once more, but not the ideal start for Ghost at all. It's Wumax now looking to the left-hand side of Tier. Tier going backwards with that damage. I think Taylor under pressure from Sumo. Sumo getting up in front of him going into Parabolica. Speed Alcoholic leads then ahead of MX and Aces, who hangs on for P3, but not the optimal start at all. Just got up into P8. I think that's the tower trying to sort itself out. That is Speed Alcoholic from MX, Aces, Sumo and Taylor. Your top 4 with Ted right up there in the mix as well. Don't forget JM. Definitely there on his debut, looking to impress. Tier and Ghost both into the pit lane. Not the ideal start for Ghost then at all, and not the one he'd have hoped for, as they all blitz their way down. Jam is really struggling. That is a big crash. That's Sumo into the wall. Didn't quite catch that because of the tower, but oh my god, Sumo with an incredible crash, and that's Palfs into the wall as well. How was that happen there? There's going to be a full cross yellow and a full safety car being brought out. It was originally a VSC, but now a safety car. What happened between Sumo and Palfs? What? And that was a very similar place to how he retired in qualifying as well. Sumo and Palfs both out of the Italian Grand Prix, and our 3rd retirement, or now making it 3 retirements in this race so far, is the safety car going to bring everyone back up close together. But yeah, not sure what happened there. Sumo just, you look away for one moment and he's in the wall. Don't know what happened, whether it was him jumping the curve through the Della Roja or what have you, and then Palfs just, something happened, lost the rear going towards the Lesmos, locked the rear, something must have happened, but not entirely sure what happened. Is this Ted now looking to pull into the pit lane? No, it's not. But the safety car definitely out. And we said safety cars might be incredibly prevalent, but gives Powers an opportunity to come tune into the stream and cheer on his teammate Davilo, who at the moment is in P10. Let's have a look at the position changes so far then. So Womack with the best start of the bunch, 6 places up, and Aces third worst, and that is, yeah, that is a shame. It just didn't get away well. It just looked like he bogged, did not get the optimal start at all, and just got swallowed up by everyone behind him. The likes of Taylor and everyone, and Moosey, yeah, definitely not going to be happy at all. But Davilo as well, the man with the worst start of the bunch, down to P10 already in the Aston Martin. I think that's not a sign of things to come. A shame for Powers nonetheless. Sumo's car and Ghosted right in front of him. Not much he can do, and yeah, with the unsettled rear end on this game, if you swerve too quickly, the car gets out of shape. It just goes, it goes, and you can't recover it at all. That is a shame, and a bad way to end the race very prematurely for Palps there, and Sumo of course. But Palps, talk us through the incident. Did you see what happened to Sumo in front? Did you catch the actual mistake or what actually happened? And I think it was, yeah, Palps with a great start as well. But I think it's Moosey's fault. She was probably stood in front of the TV, as she usually is. I think that is the reason why you couldn't react quick enough, maybe. But yeah, just waiting for Ghost at the back end of the grid. I think the safety car is really going to be a welcome sight for the Red Bull, who can now try and recompose himself and get himself ready for the recovery drive. Only 3 laps in, still all to play for. Yeah, I think that is probably the best bet. Just look, the curbs are ruthless. They are very ruthless on this game, and they aren't forgiven at all. They really do not forgive you, and will very much spit you out at the earliest opportunity possible. So you can't underestimate them. Yeah, tyres on the grass do that. You lose the rear end very easily, as I'm sure Ted will tell you after qualifying. Evening, Tom. It's a pleasure to have you in. At the moment, you join us under a safety car. The lovely red Mercedes AMG. Blame Bluey, of course, but yeah, Bluey's not racing and still finds a way to ruin things. And if he is in the chat, I'm sure he's going to be having his head in his hands, because that is all his fault. But this safety car gives a rise to new opportunities for those up and down the grid, those who maybe didn't get the best of starts, those who maybe got better starts than others and are looking to carry that momentum forwards. Speed Alcoholic may be one of them. An incredible start, already ahead of his teammate into turn 1. MX as well decided to follow him through, and that was a very wise decision. Taylor couldn't quite manage to get it done. Stayed in P4. JM with a decent start as well, managed to maintain P6. Or actually, jump into P6, and he started P7. Safety car in this lap though, so Speed Alcoholic takes the reins. He will cruise around very slowly, take control of the pace of the pack. That's true, that is very true. But Speed Alcoholic, you can see, getting that final stage of tyre warming up, weaving around left and right, getting those tyres into a prime, optimal condition. He controls the pace, he can back it up. Now when the safety car light turns off, and then between that point and the starting line, he can then punch it. Safety car now coming in. It's his choice to dictate when the pack goes, and it wants to be as late as possible, otherwise he's going to get very much slipstream down towards turn 1. MX is wanting to go, you can see already pulling to the inside and ready to go back under green flag racing, and we are underway in racing. It's a great restart from Aces, who already pulls into the slipstream of MX and looking to get in front of him. He's tucked up nicely, bumper to bumper to bumper, the top 3 go. MX tries to defend, so does Speed Alcoholic. Aces going to the left hand side, looking for the outside into the Retifido chicane, gets a compromised MX around the outside. They're going to still be side by side, but he gets the position away from the Alfa Romeo. Still 2 by 2, they go. Taylor and Ted running side by side. JM looking to get involved as well, but MX just about hangs on to that position. Ace is still looking to recover from his poor start. Tucked up nicely in the slipstream. Can he maybe go for the move in towards De La Roja? Are they going for move further back? No, I don't think so, as they all funnel their way through. So it is still the original top four: Speed Alcoholic, MX, Aces and Taylor, with Ted and JM. No changes at the moment. Ghost looking to get himself in front of maybe one more car as well, as Wumax gets a very compromised run off the De La Roja up into P9. Perfect restart from Ghost then, as the top six incredibly close. Speed MX couldn't have asked for a better restart, but that's a big crash, and that is Taylor and JM both into the wall. That was a mistake from Taylor, and JM just couldn't avoid it one bit, and that is another 2 retirements added to the books. Taylor a little bit compromised. That's another safety car on the restart lap. Yeah, that is a shame. Bottle is definitely open. Yeah, that is a shame for Taylor and JM. Nothing JM could have done. He was driving incredibly well. So was Taylor up until that mistake. But again, a big shame for them both. But Speed Alcoholic and MX are both going to take this opportunity to come into the pit lane. Ace is going to follow his teammate in. They're going to have to double stack. But I think he might just have the gap to be able to do it. Tyres on. It might be very close. The Mercedes might not be ready for him. I think that is perfection. That is timed to very near to perfection. Aces couldn't have asked for a better double stack there. That is pretty good. And I think he may just still maintain that P2 position. But 2 cars stay out. Scott and Ghost, 2 cars to stay out. Maybe only 5, but we'll hope for the better. 5 DNFs already in this race. But the more DNFs, the more viewers I get on the stream, as they all come to watch. So yeah, no complaints on my end. But it is Scott and Ghost that take the P1 and 2 in this race. Speed Alcoholic gone for the hard tyres, whereas everyone else behind them have gone for the mediums. Davila gone for the hards as well. Tier and Remax for the softs. They've all gone for the for the free pit stop under safety car. And they're going to be bunched up again. So lap 6 of 27, 2 safety cars, 5 retirements. Lost 5 and 6 laps. Definitely could happen. Hopefully we've got more than 5 towards the end of the race, and everyone keeps it clean from here on out. But so far a very chaotic race. Ghost has already taken his first pit stop. Those soft tyres should be able to go quite far into this race, and if he can pit around about when MX pits, then that would be definitely ideal for Ghost. But MX and Aces and Ted and Jack Lacko are all going to be looking to get in front, as Jack Lacko is really going to benefit from this. We've got one more lap for safety car while we wait for Wimax at the back end of the grid. But Ghost kept his nose relatively clean apart from that first lap incident through a Scari. So 7 laps in. Yeah, doing perfect, Jamie. Thank you, mate. I hope you are well yourself. Seven laps in, and well, your top 10 are your those who are still racing. It's Scott, Ghost, Speed Alcoholic, MX, Aces, Ted, Jackalacco, Davila, Tier, and Wumax. Those still in contention to take the win, I would probably say, or anyone from the top 7. Maybe even stretch it down to Davila. Who knows what this race holds, because it's been so unpredictable so far. And well, don't think many people are going to be having a good time. Safety car in this lap then, so Scott takes us round and will control the field similar to how Speed Alcoholic did a couple of laps ago. But what's going to be crucial is MX maybe making the most of those medium tyres and getting the jump on Speed Alcoholic as best he can, and Ghost as well looking to make the most of those softs compared to Scott's mediums. Both of these guys, Scott the only driver left on the grid yet to pit. Moving around, getting that temperature into those tyres, raring to go. And when does he punch it? He's got between now and the timeline, nearly spins it coming off the parabolica. That would have been quite embarrassing, but you can see really backing it up as Ghost takes the lead and leads us off the safety car. Not quite sure what's going on there, but we are back under green flag race and not too entirely sure what's happened. Speed Alcoholic looking to get the jump on Scott as MX tries to get himself involved. Further back, Womax gets the move on Tier. Scott squeezing and Speed Alcoholic all the way to the left-hand side. I think that might open the door for MX, who's going to go down the inside. Bit of a lock-up from Scott. That's going to put Speed Alcoholic off and allow MX to cruise around the outside through the Rettifilo chicane. They're going to run side by side. That medium tyre grip compared to the hards is going to be so much superior, and MX hits himself up into the provisional lead of this race. And at the moment, P3, Dabbler looking to get past further back as well. Aces needs to get past his teammate as soon as possible to stay in contention between himself and MX. They all file their way through the Della Rosa then off this restart lap. 8 of 27, nearly a third of the way through this race, and already we've had so much action in terms of fight for the lead and what have you. Ghost already put in a 2-second gap. Not sure what he was doing there off the restart. Didn't allow Scott to get in front, but MX is going to get the move done as maybe Speed Alcoholic is as well. Pulls to the inside into Ascari using that ERS, and he's going to have that car between himself and his teammate in probably the most most awkward corner to catch the car through. Practically pushing him is Aces, and that could open the door for Ted. Scott pulling to the left hand side and just letting people through. Doesn't want to get involved in this race at all between these guys. Ted looking to get on Aces, who's just been seemingly going backwards. Ted back up the inside into Parabolica. The Mercedes around the outside though keeps him pinned and trying to keep his foot, and they're still going to run side by side. Ghost leads off the restart then from MX, Speed Alcoholic, Aces, and this is the fight between the two. Aces versus Ted now coming towards turn 1 again. Speed Alcoholic trying to close on MX and stay with him. Ghost as well pulling that gap at the front. Ted looking to get around the outside. Scott doesn't want to get involved. Aces defends P4 for the time being, but needs to stay within a second of his teammate to advantage himself from DRS and get that benefit of an extra 20 miles per hour or so that you get from opening the rear wing, especially at Monza. Every little helps. In terms of straight line speed, Davila looking to get past the Alpha Tauri, and Tier looking to get past Davila in towards Lesmo 1. It's been, well, a breeding ground for incidents so far, this section of the track. So Tier thinking better of it, choosing life. And going through Lesmo number 2. Don't think Tier is going to be looking to particularly eye up a move maybe for the time being. Ghost still extending the gap at the front. Didn't wait around off the restart, of course, remember. He managed to get Scott well before the timing line. MX trying to break the toe as best he can. Speed Alcoholic behind here, did get past Davila. Was that coming out of Ascari? Maybe Davila got a little bit swamped. Well, something must have happened, but Ghost again, fastest lap of the race, 22.4 on his soft compound tyres that are still looking very, very young and very, very quick despite being 7 laps old. DRS has been enabled then. Drag reduction system going to be Aiden Ted, going to be Aiden Aces, going to be Aiden Speed Alcoholic. Maybe if he can close the gap to within a second of MX in front, but Aces is not going to wait around with his teammate. He's going to want to get through as quickly as he possibly can. Those hard tyres, they're not going to be quick at the moment. Womax round at Ascari. Don't think that's going to be terminal damage. Hopefully not. Tier looking to eye up a move as well. Speed Alcoholic goes defensive, brakes coming down the straight to let his teammate through and maybe even hold off Ted. But yeah, Ace is very lucky to avoid that, I think. I don't think he was particularly expecting that one. Tier getting himself into P7 as Jackalacco has gone for a visit to the wall. Our good friend Barry R, as he has lost his front wing and can hardly turn through Lesmo 1. The Ace is now able to set his sights on MX in front, who has deployed a lot of ERS in trying to get away, but it's been all in vain. And Ace has definitely got the foothold, almost 70% compared to, well, now less than 10% of MX in front, and he is within DRS range. So Ace is looking very, very strong. Ted looking to get past Speed Alcoholic as well. Will have the A's of DRS. As Jackalacco really struggling out there with no front wing. Can Aces maybe pull an attack because MX is going to be very vulnerable. He can see that blinking red light in front. Can Ted maybe get through on Speed Alcoholic, who may have made a mistake on this strategy? Who knows? They hurdle down. Ted looking nicely tucked up in the slipstream. Speed Alcoholic 2 at the right hand side. Ted pulls to the left, brakes as late as he can. Is the Mercedes going to hang on? Yes, he is. Gets in front and stays in front under braking. And he's going to be trying to hold up Ted as best he can. That DRS aid from his teammate in front going to be helping him out a ton. As Tier running side by side with Scott. As another safety car has been brought out. So Tier, yeah, well, that spoiled his fun a little bit. It was going around the outside of Curva Grande. And it would have been the inside of the De La Roja had it not been for that safety car. So another safety car being brought out. And I think this could be well and truly in the hands of Ghost, who can now pit for the mediums and not lose too much time. As Rumax, yeah, Binder, they're coming out of the second Lesmo. And is now our 6th retiree of this race so far, which is certainly a shame. I don't know how Ghost got away with that. I am just as puzzled as you are with that one, Bitmappy, but he got away with it nonetheless, and will vastly benefit from this safety car, with the fact that he can now come in for the pits, come into the pits, a free pit stop essentially. And come out, I would say maybe around about the I reckon he'll come out P8, but he won't have to pit again if he comes in for the mediums, and it would be stupid not to come in. He's going to pull to the right hand side, and then he comes into the pit lane. Comes the lead car of the Red Bull. MX, is he going to come in? No, he's not. His Ace, is his Speed Alcoholic going to change his mind and come off the mediums? Yes, he is. He's realised that these hard tyres are going to be absolutely nowhere, so comes in, he's going to lose a lot of time. So does Scott and Ghost. Tier and Davla all into the pit lane, so MX takes the lead of this race under safety car. Ace is in P2 with Ted at P3. Goes up into P4 because of this pit stop, and I'm sure he's not going to be complaining. He's going to be a little bit quicker with those fresh tyres. Ted, Tier, Scott and Ghost won't finish. Bold prediction. Wow. Okay, Sumo. Interesting one. I think... Well, Jackalacco's gotten a free pit stop. He's not been the most consistent today. Certainly not been the most consistent. He's made a few mistakes of his own doing. And some of his not, of course, of his own doing. But yeah, trundling around with no front wing for a lap or two definitely didn't help him at all. As we're not even halfway through this race yet, and we've already had quite a bit of action. And by that action I mean cars into the barrier. But of course don't forget we've had a nice wheel-to-wheel race, and that start was pretty intense. Crucial times for Aces, who just completely went backwards and hasn't been able to recover since. But his pace has been very, very good. Since then he's managed to recover himself well and is looking very strong to get back. Yeah, not to wish bad luck and a crash on anyone, of course, that's not what we want, but yeah, with the 6 out, you have to ponder the question if any more are going to go out. Of course, we've recently lost Rumax. Before that, it was JM and Taylor. Before that, Paus and Sumo. And just before that, Emiliano. And to bring out the VSC, and shortly after, yeah, it was Sumo and Paus who collected each other up. Coming out of the De La Roja, I think we've got maybe one more lap of safety car, depending on how quickly Jackalacco decides to catch up. This is probably MX's saving grace that he's been able to recharge his batteries pretty much for free, but same advantage goes to Aces. He's managed to get up from a half battery to a full battery. So it's going to be level pegging at the front, except well, for Ghost and Speed Alcoholic. Scott going for the softs and Tier for the hards. That's definitely the wrong decision, I must say. But Scott for the softs, that's an interesting one. I think his plan is to just take these as long as he can. And hope, because this safety car is going to be out for another lap. That's not going to be too long that he has to be on these tyres for, compared to how long you usually are. So if he can take care of these softs, that could be a good shout for Scott. But I definitely think Ghost has got a good advantage here. Ted as well. Aces look very quick. I don't think MX has got the ERS management to stay in front. I think he's going to try too hard to get out of that DRS, and in turn screw him up for the long run. I think, yeah, MX, as quick a driver as he is, I think, yeah, he's astonishingly quick, definitely up there with the likes of Vardy who is just an alien. I think it's criminal that he hasn't won a championship in the sprint just yet. Of course, is the Friday champion, but not quite won a championship in the sprint, as Jack Alacco has retired from this race. And that wasn't on track, so I think he's just given up. So we are down to 8 runners, 3 more, and yeah, certainly not been happy. Well, I mean, it's better that it is their own doing than dirty driving, putting people into the wall. So at least the benefit of the doubt is the fact that we've kept it clean and we've had good racing, apart from the fact where perhaps the bottle lids are a little bit open. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. This is a bit of an anomaly in APPF1. Usually we don't see many retirements, if any. Even the reverse grid sprint races, where you'd expect many retirements, don't see many. So yeah, it's a shame to see this many retirements, but definitely not something we're used to. But still hoping for a good last half of this race. MX leads from Aces. He leads us under the safety car restart. Has punched it, and we're back underway. Green flag racing. Aces gets a very, very nice restart as well, coming off it as well, as they all try and follow nicely in the slipstream. Ted looking to get involved. Speed Alcoholic looking to get past Ghost. They're all weaving around like snakes. Aces can't quite close the gap, and Ted is going to look to the outside of Aces, who's going backwards rather than forwards off this restart. Goes very nicely deep to cover off the move from Ted and manages to maintain P2, but needs to get a good launch. Goes very squirmy coming off the first chicane. That's going to open the door for Speed Alcoholic, who's going to look around the outside of Curva Grande. Not quite going to have the overspeed that he needs though, and tucked up nicely in the slipstream. Not quite going to be close enough. Aces though, not with the best of restarts initially. 1 second is the gap, and he's going to need to try and close that as best he can. No action further down tier going off at the exit of the Della Rosa. That's going to promote Davila up into P7 and looking to chase after Scott, who on these soft tyres is going to need to push very, very hard. Monza is certainly brutal this year. Scott looking to close after Speed Alcoholic, so it's very, very close at the front. 5 cars all within nearly a second of each other, bumper to bumper. And it's going to be a very tasty DRS train, I'm sure, but Aces and everyone behind needs to focus on catching MX in front, who's burning through his DRS. So is Aces, and so is everyone pretty much behind. They're all equal pegging when it comes to it, around about the 60% mark. But they all need to work together. They need to wait for DRS before they start attacking, because if MX pulls away, he will pull away and stay away. Definitely going to check out if they aren't careful. And yeah, so 6 tenths is the gap. Ghost closing on his teammate tucked up in the slipstream. I think he is going to go for the move, get himself onto the podium, down the inside on the fresh mediums, and I think Ted gave him that one because he knows Ghost is going to be quicker. So Ted down to P4, Ghost into P3. These Red Bulls working very, very nicely together. I think Ghost is definitely going to be absolutely charging as soon as DRS is enabled in a lap's time. Speed Alcoholic on the back of Ted, looking to the outside of the Della Rosa. That's always going to be a closing gap though, not going to work around the outside. And Ted hangs on for P4, looking to help out his teammate. Ace is closed up nicely on MX, who again wasting a lot of his ERS, now down to 50% compared to Aces, who's around about 75 or so percent. That's going to be a massive advantage and a massive foothold in Ace's hand here, who took pole by quite a dominant margin from Monza standards. And has just, despite going backwards, despite the bad luck off the restart, arguably that is his own doing. Didn't get the best of starts initially either. Despite going backwards, he's always managed to recover, and he is on the back, and I still tip him for a good result today. Maybe even the win. DRS will be enabled as they exit Parabolica. Not going to get it down this back straight. They will get it on their next run towards Ascari. Speed Alcoholic still on the back of Ted. They all within a second of each other, except for Tira at the backside. So it's going to be pretty much a 7-car train. That's very wide for Ghost though, coming off Parabolica. He's going to lose not 1 but 2 positions, and is going to have to focus on recovering from this one. Coming off the Parabolica, whether it's a similar mistake to qualifying. Speed Alcoholic looking down the inside, a very audacious send, taps the rear right of Ted, who just about manages to hang on. Ghost is going to get his compromised teammate, so is Scott. Ted is going to lose out massively because of this. Scott and Ghost just going for an open gap, finding their way through, forcing the gap open and keeping it open as it's all kicking off at the front as well between these guys. They're going to be fighting it all the way down to the Della Rosa. It's going to be Speed Alcoholic and Ghost who manages to cover himself, only lose 1 place out of that one, and it's actually going to be Ted, the biggest loser of that skirmish. Is Ace is going to be able to get the move done on MX down towards Ascari. He's going to have DRS, he's going to have ERS, he's going to have Slipstream, he's going to have an absolutely amazing run coming off the second. Lesmo tucked up nicely, MX defends, Ace is going to keep his foot and he's got an amazing run. He's not using his overtake, he's going to keep him pinned. He is ahead and into the lead of the race going towards Ascari. Don't forget MX is going to have that DRS to fight back with though, coming towards the Retafilio. Not got a lot of ERS to use though. Ace is definitely the man with the pace as they all funnel their way through further back through Ascari. Ghost on the back of Speed Alcoholic. The front two really much checked out. Speed Alcoholic pulling to the right hand side and letting Ghost through. I think he wants the DRS. I think that was the strategical move there from Speed to get the DRS and fight back on Ghost, but I don't think he's got the ERS to actually do that. Ghost is just going to hang on. I think that was actually a free position given to Ghost, unless Speed Alcoholic can do anything. Can MX launch the attack on Aces? He's closing at a rate of knots. Aces defends to the white line, pulls out to the left hand side to close the gap. MX can't quite find his way through around the outside. Ghost fighting with Speed Alcoholic, who's going to keep him on the inside. They go side by side through the Retafilio chicane. The Mercedes and Red Bull fighting very, very, very hard, as we see in real life quite often as well, but Ghost just about hangs on for P3. Scott looking to put the pressure on as well. Ted looking to get past Scott for P5. But yeah, it's still at the front. I think it's Ace is very much controlling the pace. He's got the pace, he's got the consistency. Lap 17 of 27. Not long left to go. Speed Alcoholic kicking up some dirt through Lesmo 1 on the exit. Good racing now, definitely. Very, very good racing indeed. Up and down the field. We've seen it all race long. Not so much in the way of bottles. And this long DRS train really promoting us some good racing. Giving us a show to watch. As Davila can definitely see himself a couple of positions up. Scott losing touch of the front four. Ted consequently has lost touch of the front four because he's not been able to get past Scott and he's lost time. But MX needs to focus on saving some ERS because look at the gap between himself and Ace. Is not on track, but in ERS. Just that pure engine power he's going to be missing out on. He's going to have the DRS, but he just doesn't have the energy. That extra 160 brake horsepower, it's so crucial, but he still closes every straight. But it's not enough as Ted gets himself ahead of Scott. I think he's just going to be able to edge himself in front. Scott not going to fight that one too hard as a big lockup from both Speed and Ted is going to invite Scott to get back up the inside of him on the switchback. Ted going very wide. He's going to lose the position and go down to last place. So it's all coming undone for Ted at the moment. Really not going his way at all in this race. This is a shame. But don't forget that Aces and MX may have to pit again if they don't watch their tyres very carefully. MX practically pushing at Aces now through this twisted section of the circuit through the two Lesmos. Needs a good exit. He saved up a little bit of ERS, but I don't think he's going to use it. He is going to use it. He's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, he's got a decent run, but I don't think it's enough because Aces has the energy to hold him off. He's going to close, but not quick enough. Almost into the back of him, into Ascari. Ghost has now been brought right back up into this fight. It's going to be a 3-car fight for the race lead. Ghost with a hefty chunk of ERS to use as well. And I think MX is going to be the most runnable of the three. Ghost could be looking for a very strong finish on these fresh mediums as well. Don't forget, he's going to be looking very quick. His Speed Alcoholic has had a massive spin coming off the Ascari chicane. A VSC has been brought out. Not a full course safety car, but a VSC nonetheless. So Speed Alcoholic out of this race, down to 7 finishes. As Aces and MX going to take this opportunity to come into the pit lane. It's almost a free pit stop. Not quite a free one, but one they can benefit from greatly. As yeah, everyone who went onto the mediums off the original safety car now coming in. Scott, I think, coming in for a fresh set of soft tyres. We'll make the most of this VSC. So Ghost inherits the race lead ahead of Tia and Davila in P2 and 3. So this could get very spicy. Ace is going to be on an absolute charge as Speed Alcoholic now leaves the session. 2 more get them softs on yet. So 4 drivers on the softs, 3 out there on some harder compound tyres, and they're going to be a little bit slower, but 15 seconds gap. It's going to be a very, very tight finish. I think these could be your podium finishes because of that that necessary pit stop going on to the mediums. Maybe a bit too early, perhaps, as we are back under green flag racing. And they need to try not too hard to fight amongst themselves. So Ghost lead from Davila and Tia in P3. Could he secure a podium here in Italy today? It's going to be, well, it's going to be Aces set off. He's going to be like a bull chasing that red flag. 12 seconds is the gap and closing. Ace is the man with the pace, probably the man who deserves to win. After showing some good pace and bad luck and recovering himself so well. Purple to the middle sector goes Aces. He's absolutely flying. but he's only got around 7.5 laps or so of this race remaining to get that gap down. That's going to average it around about, we say, around about, he's going to need over a second a lap, isn't he? Yeah, he's going to need 1.6 seconds a lap. That's going to be a tough ask, but Aces, if there's anyone that can do it today, it's going to be him. MX closing the gap as well within DRS. They don't want to fight amongst themselves, though. That's the thing. If they want any chance of catching, they need to catch now. I think the top two are going to be slightly out of reach. That penalty for Tia is going to go a long way as well in aiding it. So there's only now going to be 7 seconds they need to catch. 7 seconds in 7 laps. A second a lap. Can they do it? Aces should be absolutely fine, but don't forget these soft tyres are going to degrade a lot quicker. So while they're not particularly close on track, it's going to be a very, very tight finish, I feel, definitely. So let's see if Aces can be a shooting star, and chase after Tia. Going through Ascari, you can see he's just pushing so hard. He's got MX with him, Scott and Ted a little bit further back. They're probably nowhere in this race. But Aces, that gap is coming down extremely quickly. He's lapping faster than Davila, but Ghost controlling the race. He's extending that gap on Davila. Etching himself ever further away and is looking in very much control from the back of the grid. Can Ghost do it? Would definitely not put it past him. MX goes faster, 20.8, and is well tucked up in the slipstream. Not got a lot of ERS to use though, despite that pit stop. But MX, does he know that he needs to work with him? Does he want to work with him as Ted is closing the gap on Scott? Pulls to the inside. I don't think Scott's going to fight this one too hard. Maybe he does. But Ted is ahead into the corner. That's a big crash between the two. Scott goes straight on. So does Ted through the first chicane. He picks up a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting that first chicane. That was a huge crash. Did Ted arguably move under braking and Scott brake maybe a little bit too late? Something happened between the two and we caught it first hand. For Scott now without a front wing, I think Ted maybe picked up a bit of damage to his rear wing as well because of that incident. And of course that 10-second penalty is going to be a massive, massive hurt. Yeah, that time's coming down. 6.5 seconds now with 6 laps left to go. It's coming down. They are blitzing past, after him. MX, I think, has got the memo to work with him. I don't think he's going to be fighting it too hard. They just need to work together. They both can get themselves up in this race. There's no point fighting amongst themselves when they're closing at a rate of knots. 6.5 seconds now, 6.3 seconds as we come on to lap 22 of 27. So, yeah, 6 laps left to go in this race. 22, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. As MX is very close. Aces is going to defend. This is the battle they don't need to have. MX gets ahead of Aces, who's going to maybe try and fight back at him. No, he's not. He's going to tuck in nicely and let MX lead the way for a little bit. If he's got the pace, he's going to be able to lead the charge. But MX, yeah, he needs to prove that he can lead this charge. He needs to have the pace and not just have it because of DRS, because he hasn't got the ERS to close the gap. 5.8 now is the gap between themselves and the podium. I think MX wants it. Of course, don't forget, around 2.8 before they're inside that penalty window, so they haven't got long left at all. Scott into the pit lane. He's only got a few laps left to go, so might as well just drive it to the finish. DRS wide open for Aces. Is he going to come back at MX? I don't think he is. He's not using his overtake. He's playing it smart. Doesn't want to lose any more time than he needs to. Going into Ascari. And they haven't gained much on this lap. You can see Tia, in fact, maybe just edging a little bit further away. And maintaining that gap, if anything. So I don't think MX being in front is the right call between these guys. They need to work together a little bit smarter. Aces maybe arguably needs to get himself in front sooner rather than later, because they're going to run out of laps very, very quickly. He's going to be in the slipstream. He's going to be tucked up nicely with DRS. Is he going to be able to close the gap? I don't think he is interested in wasting his DRS, but MX is very, very slow down the straight. You can see Ace is able to close up very quickly, but Ace he knows, he's got the memo. He wants to work with him. And the gap is coming down, but a lot slower than it was before. 5.2 now the gap. A lot has happened. Yeah. It's not been down to wheel-to-wheel crashes. It's been down to one person makes a mistake and collects the other one in it. So, yeah, no one's fault, but Yeah, but good racing at the front nonetheless. We've had very close. We've had Ghost being very cheeky with his safety car restarts. We've had quite a lot of things, but it would have been nicer to have more people with us to see the end of this race as opposed to just 7. Bluey took out half the grid. Yeah, exactly that. He used his mind powers and took out half the grid, or paid someone to do it. He paid for the bottles. He made them thirsty. But MX managing to extend the gap a little bit, and now only 3.5 behind Tier. Ghost still leading the way. Davila, Tier, MX, Aces, Ted and Scott, your current drivers. And I think Sumo's hoping for 2 more to retire from this race to see his prediction come true. Aces at closing very, very quickly. I'm sure if he pushed the button of overtake, he would be able to sail his way through, but he's not interested. He doesn't want to fight him. He knows they're still closing. Might not be as quick as they want to, but they're closing nonetheless, and he wants that extra position. Ace has been incredibly, incredibly clever with this. While he doesn't have the pace to go on and win it, I think he's going to want to settle for podium at the very least. After what's been a very, very big race of attrition today. Just getting to the end is going to be a reward in itself, and I think Davila and Tier are going to be very pleased with themselves if they can hang on. They are within the penalty window though, that crucial 3 seconds, because Tier made the mistake and got himself that penalty. MX very much committed through the 2 Lesmos and managing to extend that gap. I think that's probably his strongest suit of the racing circuit. Just allows him to open up the gap. Yellow flash for sector 2. I think that is Ted around and out of the session. And is that a full course yellow? Yes, it is. It's a safety car. Our 4th one of the day. Down to just 6 runners. Ted having a mistake coming out of the second Lesmo, I think. What round of pit stops is this going to trigger? Ghost in. Is Davila going to come in? No, he's not. He's going to take the lead of this race. Tier going to come in as well. Gets himself a 5-second penalty. I think this is going to be him off the podium for sure. MX then getting himself up into P2. Aces as well. They've decided to stay out. Lap 25 of 27. Hopefully we can get underway very, very shortly. Ghost is going to have the fresh soft compound tyres. He's going to be very quick. He needs to catch up though. He needs to get to the safety car because I think it's going to come in this lap. Yeah, they both can. They definitely both can. Davila leads the way. MX and Aces. This has been a very spicy ending. 25 of 27. And when we thought it was all over after that, VSC certainly is not. Certainly is not. Anything can happen. Goes down in P4, but he's going to have the best tyres on the grid. Davila leads the way. MX and Aces both have been absolutely incredible with pace, and I think you could argue that Aces might have wanted to get in front of MX now. I think he might be regretting his decision, trying to catch up, because they've caught up for 3 and are actually ahead of Tier already. So Aces maybe, in hindsight, could have got in front a little bit sooner. It's going to be full reset though, as MX is not able to completely recharge his batteries. I think, are we going to wait for Scott? I'm not sure. At the start of sector 3 is when we're going to find out. Safety car in this lap though, so Scott not going to be able to benefit from it. Davila is going to control the pace. MX in second. He's going to want to get it through. Aces wants to get that deserved win. Yeah, second Lesmo has been catching up. A lot of people today. Ghost is going to want to go from the back of the grid. Can he win it today? He's got 3 cars between himself and the victory. Davila on 12 lap old mediums. Can he hang on? He's got 2 laps to hang on. No DRS in full effect, at all. So he just needs to be quick in the straights, weaving around, getting that tyre temperature in, waiting for the safety car to pull in. Davila going to lead the way then for our 4th safety car restart of the day. When is he going to punch it? Scott has retired. We're down to 5. We are very much down to 5 runners now. Sumo is correct. We've punched it. We're back under green flag racing for the final stint of this race. They are very much bundled up between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. MX trying to go for the move. He's going to pull to the inside. I think Aces is going to try and go for it as well. Are they going to run 3 abreast? 2 by 2 they go. Ghost looking for a way through. Maybe even 3 abreast. Down the inside goes MX into the lead of the race. But Davila around the outside gets the move done and manages to hang on just about. Ace is going to be able to get the run. Is Ghost going to be able to get the run and try and go around the outside of Curva Grande? Maybe he's got the run. MX looking to go around the outside of Davila. This is is all kicking off now in the final stages. The penultimate lap of this race. Ghost looking to the outside. MX looking to the inside for the lead of the race. Down the inside he goes. Can Davila go around the outside? Ghost around the outside and up into P3. The two leaders have made contact and Ghost gets himself into the lead of the race. The Italian Grand Prix on the penultimate lap. The two leaders come together. MX down to 4th. Davila down to 5th. They were fighting that way too hard and Tier back onto the podium. Now he's only got around about a lap and a half left to go. Can he even find himself getting himself into P2 potentially? Davila has retired, so we're down to 4 runners in this race as we come onto the penultimate lap. So only 4 people left to finish this race. So Tier maybe can get himself onto the podium. He's got fresh softs, maybe even P2, but Ghost comfortably looking to win this race. MX needs 4 seconds in this final lap to get himself onto the podium. So at the moment it's Ghost, Aces and Tier, your top 3, with MX rounding off the grid in P4. But as we come on to the final lap, that very much caught me off. Yeah, Scott Marshall. Scott definitely not happy. I think Ace is going to pull to the inside. Tier is going to be sailing past though, and as Tier got some incredible pace, Ace is going to be trying to fight it, tuck into the slipstream though, coming towards turn 1. He could maybe launch a counter attack, looking to the inside. How late can he brake? Not late enough, as the Mercedes has him to tuck in for P3 as we're on to the final lap of what has been an eventful race to say the least. Yeah, definitely an anomaly, I can't even say it. I'm just going to give it. It's an unusual event for APPF1. Not something we often see. If me saying it's bad enough, you should see me trying to spell it. Davila leaves the session, understandably so. Tier very wide. I think Ghost is going to hang on for the win from the back of the grid. He's managed to hang on brilliantly, and that the 2 leaders coming in front of him. Bluey got 11 driver takeouts. Yeah, he did very well today, Bluey. He should be very proud of himself. But Ghost has only got a couple of corners left to go. Tier very wide though. No, he's bottled the podium. Can he catch it? No, he can't. On the final lap, he's without a wing. And MX, I think, is just going to be able to get in front of him. And because of the penalty, Tier has bottled his podium and is going to finish last of the 4 runners. No, Tier. That is such a shame, but Ghost takes the win of the eventful Italian Grand Prix. Aces comes home second with MX third. Across the line, Tier into P4. It couldn't have gone worse for him. He comes into the pit lane flat out. And that is going to be it for the Italian Grand Prix. Tier, you had 2 corners left to go. 2 corners left to go for a podium. Tier. Heartbreak for him. Absolutely heartbreak, and I think I know what Monaco you're talking about. I'm not sure if is that the one where everyone crashed out. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it is the Red Bull that takes the win though. Goes from the back of the grid very deservedly so. It's been an eventful race, it must be said, here in Italy. And it is Ghost that takes the win. Fastest lap as well. Full 26 points going his way, with Aces rounding off in P2 with MX on the podium. Tier, well, bottled that one, didn't he? But the non-finishers were Davila in P5 with Scott P6, Ted P7 with Speed in P8. Jackalacco and Rumax rounding off the top 10 after not finishing. JM in P11, Taylor 12th, Paus 13th, Sumo 14th, and Emiliano rounding off the grid in 15th. If you got nothing of your race, yeah, well, I got some of it. Yeah, cheers, Paus. It's been a pleasure, and looking forward to the season ahead. Hopefully we can have a little bit more in the way of people crossing the checker flag this time around. Well, technically, Scott, you did finish, and so did Davila, because, well, they were within 3 laps and did complete, I think, the 95% race distance to actually be classified. So we got 6 finishes that race, which is always good. So yeah, 6 people finished as opposed to 4. So Sumo, you were wrong. In fact, 6 people were classified at the end of the day. So yeah, onwards to Sunday. Exactly that. Cannot wait for Sunday. So Sumo, you're wrong. You are very wrong, because 6 people did in fact finish. What has he got to say to that? What you got to say to that, Sumo? You're wrong. You were wrong. It wasn't 5, it was 6. It wasn't, well, it wasn't even 4. It was 6. Come on, Sumo. What have you got? What have you got to say? Or has he gone? Cat got your tongue? Yeah, honestly, it wasn't even because they crashed between each other. It was because they just bottled it. That, like, one person bottled it, the other person got collected. It happens. It happens quite often in racing, and we do see it, and it's a shame when it does. But it's remarkable how I don't think any of them were directly caused by wheel-to-wheel race, and it was just purely because people got collected in incidents, which is, yeah, definitely a strange one. But yeah, nonetheless, guys, it's been a pleasure talking you through the second pre-season race of Tier 1 on a Friday. I can't wait for the season ahead. It's going to be a close, competitive one, and of course Sundays as well. I've been Zach Sweeney. This has been APPF1. I hope you have enjoyed. We've done our best, and when it was a good race, well, the track was... the track gave us some good racing. Let's say that one. At the front when it wanted to. But overall, yeah, it's a shame we lost so many. Nonetheless, it's been a great race, and I hope you have all enjoyed. I've been Zach Sweeney. This has been APPF1, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.